Okay, I'm back because I had to end the other video because somebody called me. And the thing is that they called me from what I guess used to be my daughter's number, because I've been trying to get a message from her for months now, if that's still her phone number, because we've only been talking through Messenger, and so I just got a phone call. But the thing is I have not sent a message to that fucking phone number in like 3 damn days at least. No, even longer than that, like 4 or 5 damn days. And they're just now calling me back at like 8:30 at night. Like, something don't seem right there. It don't seem right at all right there in dealing with that. And that's another thing too that I'll get into about like my ex and shit. And then I'll get into even more stuff. Like, I swear to God, like, my mind just can't help but connect dots and think how people are. Like, I know how people are that have been on drugs because, like, I've seen them, I've witnessed them, I've watched them. And, I mean, my kid's dad, my ex, like, has tormented me my whole fucking life. Like, basically. Like, I feel like to a degree. And I hate to say that, but in all honesty, when somebody keeps doing shit, it kind of makes you feel a certain way. So anyways, at the beginning of the previous video, I was talking about people being antisocial, and I was talking about my dad being that way. And my dad was like, oh, this is where the end of the world is going to happen, or some people say it's where it's going to be the beginning of the end, and da-da-da-da-da, and all this shit and everything. And so he was just in his own little paranoid world, is the best way to word it. And so he raised me telling me all this shit, and I was just kind of like, okay. And he's like, you can't trust anybody. Well, then, like I said, he used to beat the shit out of me, and in a previous video, I talked about how I tried to talk to my best friend's mom and, like, expose, I guess you'd say, at least the beatings, like, wise, the amount of abuse to her, so that way she would do something. And all she did was just ask my mom what my mom was going to do, and my mom's response was, he just gets so mad with her. He gets so angry when it comes to her. So that was the end of that shit and everything. And then here they are having my damn kid. They took temporary custody of her and had her for almost, it'll be a year and another month. And I'm just like... And then I wrote my kid the other day, and that's another thing too about my phone fucking up, is I don't know if she's wrote me back, but I doubt it. But I wrote her the other day, and I was like, how are you doing since you came and seen me Thanksgiving night? Because I worry about her emotional health, and I'm like, is she okay, or did it, did she cry a lot, like, is she really upset? Like, I can send her videos and pictures of the dogs if it made her miss them more, and that way she'll have something, like, what can I do to make you feel better if you feel bad emotionally, baby doll, because you're my sweet, like, you're my sweet little baby, like, I'll do anything. And so anyways, that's, like, just dealing with my kid. And then let me say this too, because this was another thing I was going to talk about, but I don't want to get in that much detail about it. I talked about how I got on my Facebook and I put up this post, and I was like, hey, if you don't want to be my friend, get off my Facebook. If you do want to be my friend, put a like on this post. Like, just to sum it up real short shit in this video. And I've only had 2 people like the post. So I'm like, yeah, I only got 2 friends. And I'm like, well, whatever. And I did have 60 friends on my Facebook, but now I only got 50. And then I singled out this one girl in particular because she put up a meme about depression. And it was talking about how if you are battling depression and you don't take medicine for it, that it causes you to be stupid. That it causes you to lose brain cells and become, like, retarded. And I just did not appreciate that, and, like, coming from her and at the timing that it came and everything. And I was just like, you know what? She puts up stuff like that all the time. Granted, it may not be anything towards me, but she does that all the time. Do I really want to be around somebody that does that all the time? Or not all the time, but as much as she does. And I'm not saying anything bad against the girl at all. But obviously I mentioned her name in the post. The post is set to friends only, so it's not like it's public. And I was like, I failed her as a friend, and she's failed me as a friend, so we're not friends anymore. And we never were friends because she called, hell, I met her, and she called me a bitch, like at work. Like we'd known each other a few months, and she just called me a bitch one day because I couldn't find, like I was back where she worked typically, and I was trying to help her, and she's like, go get this container, I need it now, and I was like, okay, and I went to go look, and I couldn't find it. Plus, I'm short, she's short too, but she's taller than me by a little bit, and I couldn't find it, and I was like, I don't know where it's at, and she's like, move out of my way, bitch, and I was just like, okay, and so I've always remembered that. Another thing too is I'm the one that sent out the friend request to her, and she's never sent one out to me. So I'm like, apparently she don't want to be my friend, and then she puts up that stuff about depression. Here I am battling depression, and I was just like, I can't. I'm done. And so I used her as an example, and I even wrote in my post that she could use me as an example. And then, since my phone's been acting funny, and then this phone call from what was supposed to have been my daughter's number just a few minutes ago, and the shit I'm fixing to get into talking about my kid's dad in a minute, I'm just sitting here and I'm like, please tell me this is not some drama bullshit where y'all have hacked into my phone or something like that. Like, it's made me that paranoid. The way my ex has treated me and the way my dad has treated me. I've talked in previous videos about how my father would drive by where I used to live with my husband, and we'd have to borrow the pickup truck because my husband was a transfer truck driver, or 18-wheeler, or whatever you want to call it. But anyways, so we'd have to borrow the pickup truck because we didn't have a vehicle when my husband was home. My husband would be home for 3 days, or whatever, out of the month, or I think that's right, or every 2 weeks, or whatever. But anyways, or a week out of the month, or I don't even remember. I've talked about it so much, and I'm trying to hurry and get all this shit in here as much as I can because I've lost days of shooting videos and uploading them. And this one day, me and my husband are busy, and there's a knock at the door. Like, literally, like, as soon as we finish, I guess you'd say, like, literally, like, we did, like, in the process of, and, I mean, it sounds like a fucking police officer at the goddamn door, the way that they knock, is like they're mad, they're pissed off. And I go to the door, I get dressed, and I go to the door, and I'm like, hello, and I open it, and they're like, hey, and they just came on in, and they're like, we just figured we'd go ahead and bring the truck on down here, and I was like, Casey, like, that was my husband's first name, and I was like, Casey, I was like, did you call them and let them know we needed the truck? And he's like, no, and I was like, we could have waited till tomorrow to get the truck. I was like, we wasn't planning on going anywhere today. And they was like, oh, well, we just figured we'd go ahead and bring it down. And they was like real smug about it, like both my parents was or whatever. And so they was like, something or another. And I can't remember if I said, I want to talk to you, to my mom, or if they said they needed to talk to me. And so they drove the car down there. That way my dad could drop the truck off. And I got in the car with them, and I was sitting there talking to them. And I was just like, wait, like it dawned on me, I was like, wait, how did y'all know to bring the truck down here? And they're just like, oh, they had to cover their ass, for being the little crazy spy people that my parents have turned into or whatever. I mean, for crying out loud, my mom asked me, and I don't even know why, and I don't want to know why. But anyways, she asked me whenever I was with my kid's dad, and she found out we was having sex before I got pregnant with my daughter. She come to pick me up one night, and she's like, did you have sex? And I was like, what does it matter? And she's like, did you? And I'm like, what does it matter? You done know that we've been having sex. You're not doing anything about it. You're not helping me get on birth control, even though it's free. I was like, so what does it matter? And she's like, well, did you? And I was like, what does it matter? And she's like, just sitting there driving me home or whatever. And then she's like, well, what positions do y'all have sex in? And I was just like, what the fuck? What kind of question is that? And she's like, what kind of positions do you have sex in? And I was like, none of your business, And she's like, well, I just want to know. And I was like, why? And, like, I've talked about my mom being a narcissist, and I've even mentioned in a video before, I was like, did something happen between them I need to know about? Like, what happened? You know? And so that's just, but that's besides the point. Like, to a degree, kind of. There's just so much shit. There's just so much shit. When shit like this, I mean, I don't think that I can talk to any other person on the face of the planet and be like, hey, did your mom ever ask you what sexual positions you had sex in the first sex partner that you had in your life? And then be like, yeah, that's what moms do everywhere. Yeah. Like, really? Is that normal? Because if it is, then I'm not normal, and I really don't want to live here anymore. Because that's not normal to me. That's strange. I would never ask. Like, I would never, you know, and not in that tone and that way and that, no, I just wouldn't. But anyways, so my parents showed up when I was with my husband to drop off the truck, and I was like, how'd y'all know to drop off the truck? And they're like, oh, we were driving by and we seen that his truck was out here. And like I've stated before in previous videos, our, like, apartment complex was, like, down, like, it was, the parking area was downhill, like in, like, a fucking valley or gully or what the fuck ever. So you can't just drive by on the road and see even the cab of a transfer truck parked in front of the fucking building, because the building blocks it. You have to come down into the parking area to see that truck is there. So I was just like, here we go again. Y'all have got something demented and wrong with y'all. Like, I don't know what the hell. I feel like I'm somebody that almost to a degree that, like, they know that some type of mark was put on me or some shit, and they're like, we've got to know everything she does. Like, I feel like that's the way that my parents have done me, and it's stifled and suffocated the shit out of me. And I'm just like, can you just leave me alone? And then even when they came over this Thanksgiving, like, they came over, brought food. My dad did, with my daughter and my niece. And I've stated that in a previous video. Why did my dad have to get out of the car? I said I didn't want to see him, and I meant it. Why did he have to get out of the car? Oh, he had to get out of the car to get the food out of the car. So my 12-year-old daughter's not capable of getting food out of the car? Like, that is a manipulation on my father's part. I'm not stupid. I was born at night, honey, but not last night. Like, I fucking know you. I know how manipulative you are, and I've seen you in fucking action. And I even told my kid years ahead of time. My kid has been knowing since the time she was like 6 years old. So 6 years ago, I've been like, your grandparents, I wouldn't put it past them to try to take custody of you and take you away from me, you know. And how do you feel about that? And how would you feel about that? Like, I've been talking to her, you know, not a lot, but just occasionally. But since she got older, you know, and then the way that they was manipulating her whenever she was over there and everything. And even the fucking deputy that come out and talked to me before my kid left and everything, and before they took temporary custody of her, she looked at my kid and she said, you know, you're playing both sides of the table. And my daughter was. But the thing is not only was my daughter playing both sides of the table, but my parents were too. I need help. Like, legally, all the shit that's been done to me, like, it should not have even been, like, done to a person. Like, it's bad. And yes, I'm sitting in the floor and everything, because I'm sitting here and I'm like, something's interfering with my phone. Let me sit closer to the heater. I know that sounds weird as fuck, but I'm like, hey, you know, it's something that's plugged up, and so energy and, like, electricity and, like, I don't know. And so I'm like, I don't know. And I'm not all technologically advanced, but I'm just like, hey, let's see if it helps. And an interference, like, from other signals somewhere or whatever, maybe it'll kind of, and then I'm the floor up under me is concrete, so it's like, you know, kind of block signals from other interferences and shit, hopefully. But So that's all that, and I talked about the paranoia, like with my dad. My dad's antisocial, and like he stayed, like in his fucking room and shit like that. And some of the stuff that he said to me, and he used to try to tell me that nobody cares about me and all this and everything. And then that's even what my mom told me whenever I went to the school and tried to get help from the school counselor with my daughter, and I even tried to get a social worker involved with just me and my kid to help me and my kid out, and the social worker only showed up once to my house and knew I would be at work. I gave them what time I'd work, and they didn't come to my workplace, and if they would have, I would have talked to him. And next thing I know, my kid's taken from me. And I mean, I don't know. And I called the social worker back after I found out that he'd been here, trying to get a hold of him to, like, reschedule, like, seeing him or whatever, and that shit didn't happen. And then I was so devastated and in shock whenever I found out. I was just like, nothing matters. But my mom, whenever she seen, like, because I got the ride from her to go up to the school to talk to the counselor, and I actually had to wait, like, forever for her the first day that I went up there and talked to the school counselor to come and get me. And then the second day, she was mad at me, and she said, Heather, they don't give a damn about you and Ava. They don't care about you. Like, who does that? Who says that a counselor does not care, But then again, I kind of get it, because hell, nobody did care, and my fucking kid's taken away from me. And I'm a good mother, damn it. I'm a good mother. Like, so fuck you. But anyways, this world, I don't know. I'm sorry that I'm INFP. And so, yeah, I'm kind of idealistic, and I'm the mediator, and I don't like to fight, and I don't like to have conflict. And that means that I don't like to beat the shit out of my kid just to keep her ass in line because she's not minding me. Instead, I'd rather sit down and talk about it. And I'm sorry that means that I'm a daydreamer, and that I sit here and I daydream about things. And I'm sorry that also means that I sit here and I can go, oh, like play connect the dots with things and see things for how they may possibly be, but I'm not like, oh my God, I fucking know that's how it is. And I just want to be able to talk to people and get honest shit out of them, but I'm never around anybody honest, is the best way to put it. And that's literally the goddamn truth. I've not met anybody who is as honest as me in my lifetime. Like, they else don't answer the questions when I ask them, or they lie, or they just withhold so much information about anything that I could learn from them to, and it would help me out, and they know it would help me out, but they're just like, oh, she didn't ask the right question, so I'm not going to answer. And so I can't. But anyways, so back to the whole antisocial stuff like that. The reason I got into that, me and my friend, we went out to eat. She took me to a sushi place. There was a girl there that was our waitress. This waitress was just ignoring us. I mean, she was. And I was just like, I bet it's because it's something dealing with my kid's dad. Una, please go lay down somewhere. Please go lay down somewhere. Because I do not want to be distracted right now. Get up there and lay down. Well, fine, lay down there. I don't care. Because I'm trying to get all this in this video, and any distraction of another living thing just... Because I have respect for life, I guess. That's the best way to put it. But Jesus Christ. And that's really fucking funny, since I tried to commit suicide 5.5 years ago. Like, people don't get that or whatever. But the reason I feel depressed and suicidal is because nobody values my life. Calm down. I'm just so overly anxious and frustrated right now. It is insane. And I've been trying to not be and not let it. And it's calm down and refocus. But it's just something, just constant. Because I woke up this morning, my fucking phone wasn't working. My fucking phone ain't been working for a few days to do a video. It's pissed me the fuck off. And I've been trying to get it to. And every time I think it's going to, it's like it fucks up again. It fucks up again. It just keeps going slower and slower. And every time I need it to not, it's nothing in relating to what I'm trying to do. My Facebook, my YouTube, my things. And I'm just like watching somebody else's YouTube videos or looking at somebody else's Facebook posts. Oh, it works perfectly on that shit. So I'm just like, I feel hatred is the best way to word it. And then on fucking top of it, I had to block my neighbor that I've talked about in a previous post or previous video before. I had this neighbor, we were talking all this and everything. We were getting along, and then she lied about something. And she lied because, I mean, I get why she lied, you know, but she lied. I mean, that's all there is to it. And I was just like, nope, ain't doing it. Sorry. Like, that's what I needed you on. I needed you to be on my side. I needed you to be my friend, and you weren't my friend. You weren't on my side, and you lied about it. So, bye. So, I unfriended her off my Facebook because she became friends on my Facebook. So, I unfriended her. This makes the second or third time since I've unfriended her that she sent me stuff through Messenger. And today, this morning, after I got done watching Dirty Dancing, I remember, because I was in a great mood, and that's the way it happens. I can be in the best mood, I can be in a great mood, or I can be right there fixing to be happy, I guess is the best way to word it, and something will fucking happen. And so here I am, I'm like in this great mood, just got done watching a movie that I've not watched in a long time, love it, you know, just happy, singing, whatever, and she waved at me through Messenger, and it popped up, and I was just like... And so I had to block her. And I felt bad about it because she's an older woman. But at the same time, it's like, I'm not putting up with your stuff. Like, you made your choice when you decided to lie. You know, like, so you made your choice. And I'm making mine. And I hate to make choices like that when it comes to people. I really do, because but people do to me all the time. And it's about time I start doing it back to people, I guess. And so that, and then the dog just walking just now, because I'm like, let me hurry and let me get this out. Antisocial, though. And the girl, the waitress. So the waitress, and I feel out of place and everything there, and I feel like we're out of place, but I feel like I'm definitely out of place. And I didn't know what to order, because I've never been there. And so I took probably 15 minutes longer than my friend. We had to wait for him to come back twice for me to order. Like, it was bad, you know, and I'm just like, you know, I'm sorry for wasting your time, taking so long and all this and everything. But at the same time, it's like, you invited me and, you know, I'm here, you know. And so it's like one of those weird kind of situations, I guess, or at least, you know, that's the way that I felt. Oh, that's crazy hair. But look at that. But anyways, sorry, I'm really shallow sometimes, I guess. I don't know. But, or not really shallow, but, yeah. But, ADHD maybe, or ADD, distracted. Fuck. Okay, the waitress. Ignoring us, you know, or being hateful or whatever, or, you know, just in her own world or whatever, and, you know. And I'm just like, I bet it's because she knows Adam. Because everybody in this town else knows Adam or my dad, or they know somebody that talks about me. And I mean, can you imagine? Like, I'm 30. So, if you take somebody that talks as much as I do, and you stick them in a fucking box, I guess is the best way to put it. And they talk a lot, and people know that this person, this me, talks a lot. Because when I do see people, I'm just like, you know, because I've not had nobody to socialize with, hang out with, and, you know, and be used to that lifestyle. Wouldn't it be easy for the outside people that do socialize to kind of target that person? So anyways, that's just like my own kind of thought process, like right there, as to why I'm kind of figuring out why it might be the way it's been. But, my kid's dad, he was a meth dealer. It has been a meth dealer. He has done meth. He has been arrested several times for possession and all kinds of shit. He was in prison for drugs when I was pregnant. and when our daughter was a year old. And when he got out and we were still dating, and even before I got pregnant with my kid, he would call me and he would say things, and he'd be like, I know where you've been, or I know this, or I know that. And as a matter of fact, I even broke up with him one time when I was at a football game, and he admitted that it was him. But this is what happened. I broke up with him while I was out at a football game. And the reason I broke up with him was kind of the same situation with me and this other dude. But anyways, I broke up with my kid's dad, and this other guy was there, and this other guy would not leave me alone. Like, he was there the whole football game, and there was a school dance afterwards and everything. And so the football game was like 2 hours or whatever. Like, it was a decent, long football game or whatever. And like, I don't know, and I think there was something going on even before it. Like, we were there all day after school. And so this guy kept bothering me and stuff, and he was younger than me, but he was really sweet to me and stuff. And so I ended up calling my boyfriend, broke up with him, which was my kid's dad at the time. But we hadn't had our daughter yet or anything like that. And I dated this guy, and me and this guy, we started dating that night. Like, right after I broke up with him, I went and started dating him. So we're sitting on the back of his sister's, like, tailgate kissing. And this car comes up behind us, and it bright lights us as we're sitting there kissing. And I was just like, man, somebody's got their nose up my ass. So then when we go to leave that night, and we're all in the car together or whatever, and we're, like, driving out for me to be dropped off at a different place, like a different area of the parking lot, for my parents to come pick me up and stuff. Or we was trying to figure out if I was going to get my parents to come get me or some shit like that. All the cars have left the parking area except for these few cars that are close to us. And then there's one that's parked way over by the woods with its lights on, just sitting there. And it's like, what the fuck? And I found out later on that was him. That was my kid's dad. That was him in the car. He was spying on me. He couldn't come to the football game. That's the reason I broke up with him. He couldn't come to the football game. But when I broke up with him, he could come to the football game and spy on me to see what I was doing. And so he cussed me out, and we ended up getting back together and shit. But that's besides the point. But it's not to a degree. Like, it's showing the obsessiveness. When I was with my husband, my grandfather's grave, and I'm very close. Like, my grandfather died when I was 7, this one. And I was very close to him. And my kid's dad knew this. And when I got married to my husband, somebody, we'll just say somebody, you can figure who, kept vandalizing my grandfather's grave. They stole the angel that had been there since I was a kid, practically, or since I was, young. And at first they broke it. They broke it twice, I think, and then they stole it. And then they stole like 2 or 3 sets of flowers. And where my grandfather's been buried all these years, nobody has ever vandalized his grave or anything. But when I got married, somebody did. And so, you tell me. And see, I've only been with my kid's dad and my husband. That's all I've ever been with. So you tell me who the fuck, would want to do that and everything. So that shit happened. Well, then, there was several times that he would call me, and he'd be like, what y'all dressed up for? And I'd be like, nothing. And he'd be like, bet you're all dressed up. And I'd be like, no, I'm not. And I'd be like, how do you know? And he'd be like, I just know. And I'd be like, okay. He'd be like, where you going? I'm like, nowhere. And he's like, well, why you got on blue jeans and boots and a little white t-shirt? Like, he would say something like that, and I'd be like, where the fuck are you? And he's like, wouldn't you like to know? So he did that shit to me. Well, then he even has drove by over the years to spy on me and my kid. He won't even visit his daughter, he's been on meth, so his mind's fucked. He has drove by, and my kid has even seen him drive by. My kid has even seen him and said, oh, Dad drove by today while I was over at Nana and Pawpaw's out on the trampoline. And I'd say, are you sure it's him? And how do you know? And you've hardly ever seen him. And she's like, Mama, she's like, all the times that you've told me, she's like, and that they're driving by way too slow, Mama. And she's like, and they had on this hat that's this color, because he wears typical certain hats, and she's just like, and I know it had to have been him, and I'm just like, okay. And so me and my kid have seen him spying and driving by and stuff. And then my dad, like, even whenever I've moved from, like, my parents' house to my grandmother's, and then from my grandmother's up to here, my dad would say in the weeks ensuing that the dog was barking out at their house and stuff, like, obsessively at night. And I'm like, it's because he's checking to see if I'm over there living back with y'all yet. Like it's some of his business or some shit. Like, I don't know what his deal is. And it has been so bad that it's him, or it's the girls that he's with, or it's a mixture of both. I have no idea. I really don't. And it's really freaked me the hell out. Like, really fucking bad. And when I was with my husband, I had to get three different phone numbers, because I was getting harassing text messages and phone calls. And I would get especially messages from girls telling me that my daughter was the ugliest of Adam's children, because that's his name. And shit like that. And just, I'm like in fucking hell over here because of this guy, and the fact that, hell, he's like 30-something years old, and he's got out and socialized with everybody at some point in time. He's won them over, he's charmed them over, and then he's a seller of drugs, and, and all this, and he's just got out and socialized and lived his life around here. And he used to tell me that he had eyes and ears everywhere. Oh my God, I don't know how many times he told me that when we were dating. He's like, yeah, I know. Like, I'd call him and I'd be like, can you come see me today, or can I come see you? And he'd be like, why? And I'd be like, because. And he'd be like, what is it? And he would just say something, and there's times that I was like, bullshit, and he's just a good guesser, like, he'd be like, you got into it with your dad again, didn't you? Or you got into it with your mom, or your sister's there and you don't want to see her, or you don't like being around her and her boyfriend, like, stuff like that. And I was like, oh, that's basic, because that's my life every day, practically. That's basic. But then there was times that I call him and be like, can I see you today? Can you come get me or whatever? And he'd be like, why? And I'd be like, 'cause, and I'd start in on what had happened. And he'd be like, oh, I know, I heard. And I'm like, you heard? Who did you hear from? Who have you talked to? And he's like, nobody, don't worry about it. Like, what do you do with that kind of shit? And then he came over in December of last year, or November of last year, so it's been a year. He came over because he'd been clean for 10 months, and I was like, yeah, maybe he can get to where he can actually spend time with our kid, because he's never spent time with her, and that's her dad, and she's wanted to, and, so I was like, we'll try, and we'll see, or whatever. And I asked him straight up, which I've asked him over the years straight up several times. And the thing is like, I'll ask him, I've asked him over the years, I'm like, do you still love me? And he's like, no, because we've been broke up for 10 fucking years. And I'm like, do you still love me? Do you still feel anything? No, I don't feel anything towards you. No. And then I have girls getting mad at me over these 10 years, being like, you ain't nothing and you're trash, and oh my God, and I can't believe that he ever liked you and was ever with you and all this shit. And I'm just like, I don't even know you. How do you know me? Like, how do you know my name? who are you? You know? And they're like, oh, you're nobody. Don't worry about it. Like these little smug ass remarks. And I'm just like, fuck. What the fuck? You know? And so, anyways, here I am, like, with him over here just last year, and I'm like, do you love me? Do you care about me? Do you have any feelings towards me? He's like, no. He's like, that was all in the past. He's like, I ain't had feelings for you in a long time. And I'm like, okay. And then my kid went over and actually spent the night with him. And my kid, while she was over there, apparently told him, like, how much, you know, I've cared about him over the time. And I was just like, really? Why did you? But I guess it's the kid wanting the parents to work out, you know. And I was just like, okay, thanks for doing that. You know, like, great. I appreciate that so much. You know, you go see your dad one fucking time for the first time in 10 goddamn years practically, and you just tell him everything that, you know, is stressing me out, you know, but I'm here with you all the time, taking care of you, you know, raising you, and I do not regret it, not one damn bit, and you couldn't just keep that to yourself, but she's a kid, so it is what it is. And so, I was just like, whenever she told him, and everything, I was like, I can't believe you did that. I was like, really? I was like, but whatever. And so, I've left him alone, and I've moved on, you know, and everything. Since then, I ended up falling in love with this girl that I don't know, like, I really fell in love with her, like, and that shit hadn't worked out. Whatever. And, but hopefully he'll leave me alone. Hopefully I'll never have to hear from him ever again. And hopefully I'll get my daughter back. And, like, I've always wanted to have full custody of my daughter anyways. Like, him not even be, like, seen as a parent. Like, and that way he wouldn't be sitting there bitching and whining about having to pay child support all the time that he has. Because that's one thing, too, that the girls have mentioned to me over the years. They're like, you're so mean. I can't believe you ain't got child support on him. Honey, I didn't even get the full amount, okay? Because I cared about this dude much. So don't even. Like, don't even. But, so anyways, because of drama, I feel like I can't go and do anything without people relaying the message back to Adam that I went and did something. Oh, I seen her out at this restaurant once in every 5 fucking years. Let me tell people. You know, and I'm just like, can I move away yet? Do I have enough money to get the fuck up out of here yet? And then, like, since my dad's done been the way that he's been my whole life and everything, I'm just like, can I please just fuck out here? Get the fuck away from here. And then, this girl that I fell in love with, I feel like I've seen her before, and I feel like I've seen her dad before, and I feel like I've seen her grandmother before, and I'm just like, are you friends with my dad, and is this some type of spying shit? And then back to the, where I wrote on my Facebook about, like, you know, hey, you know, if nobody's be my friend, you know, and I used one girl as an example. The girl that I used as an example, her last name is the same last name as a dude that I used to work with. Oh, that's another thing, too. My kid's dad, his last baby mama, I don't want to confuse anybody, I'm going to say it slow. His last baby mama, her sister, I guess, or somebody. In the last few months of me working my job, her sister or her cousin, somebody related to her, started coming to work over here. Like, it's shit like that. It's like every job that I've worked, I always end up finding out that I'm working with somebody that literally has Adam's phone number. And I'm just like, why did you start working here? Why do you have to know him? And why do you have to have his number? And why can't I just work somewhere where I know nobody knows him? Nobody knows him. Don't even know he exists. Or if they do, it's just like some dude. Like, nothing. Like, oh, I think this, you know, or whatever. But, back to what I was saying about the girl that I fell in love with, that I was working with, which is a different girl. Her dad and her grandmother and them, I feel like I've seen them before. And so I'm like, fuck, is this some shit dealing with my dad, like being controlling and like having to know what the fuck's going on and shit with my life since because I've went no contact with my parents. Like, I've went no contact since they took custody of my kid. Like, I mean, I don't want nothing to do with them. Like, that's the whole reason that they took her too, is because like I was trying to minimalize, like, you know, cut it down completely and just be like, no, you can't see her when you're treating her like shit, from what she tells me. And I've put up with you treating me like shit, and I've had it, so I'm not putting up with it no more. And she can go over and see you every other weekend, but other than that, we're done. And so they took custody of my kid, because it's just a whole controlling, narcissist, sociopath, bullshit family that I grew up in. And now they got my kid. But, this girl, her family looks familiar and shit, and I'm just like, really? And I'm like, okay, is it just my mind being, yeah, they just look familiar. Or are they actually familiar because it's something dealing with my dad? Because that's my dad to a T. Because my dad knows people in this town, and I know 4 and 5 people that used to come over to my workplace every fucking day that I know my dad and have talked to my dad religiously throughout the years. And they're like, hey, you're, you know, so-and-so's kid, ain't you? Whenever I was younger. And I was like, yes, you know, and everything. And so it's left alone. Can I just, all I've wanted since I got pregnant is to go and raise a kid away from people that know me. It's like damn Dixie Chicks song, Wide Open Spaces, you know? Like, you want to go to a place where nobody knows you and you just get to rebuild your life from scratch, you know, and what people think of you is what they think of you based upon your characteristics, based upon the way that you act and the way that you present yourself and everything, not based upon what people have told them of you forever. And that's the really sad thing, too, about me just getting my license at 30 years old and then not having enough money for a car. You know, it's like, I'm screwed. I'm literally screwed in this town. And then I sat here and I've been watching on YouTube a little while ago. I watched a video and it was just showing these people that are suffering with all this other stuff, like health issues and stuff going on. And it's like, this is why I get depressed. Because I sit here and I feel like I don't have a bitch about shit that I'm going through. But at the same damn time, I fucking do. Because I'm a living, breathing human being. And I feel bad. And I feel stressed out. And I feel angry and all this. Like, I have a right to be upset about shit that upsets me. And so it's like, I fucking had it. And it's like, I honestly wish everybody would kind of, you know, vent at least. You know, it's venting. It's not like going out and like, okay, let's kill people that, you know, made us feel bad. It's not like that, but it's like, let me be mad. Let me be pissed off. Let me be irritated. Let me be sad from all the hell I've been through. But just leave me the fuck alone and let me take care of my kid, damn it. I'm so surprised that I've said all this in 44 minutes. Like, it's like, the other day, it's like things were just dragging on, and it was like, oh my God, it's going to take forever. And, you know, I'm not going to get it done, you know, and I feel like I've kind of said everything that I wanted to in this little bit of time. So I'm like, hey, you know, woohoo. And I just reminded myself of something that I'm going to show. This is another thing, too, that I mentioned in a previous video or whatever. Don't pay attention to the date on the camera. This is my camera, if you can see it. Don't pay attention to the date on it, because it says February 25th, I believe. Yeah. And it's not right. But these are some pictures that I took the other night, right? Or it's about right. It's like 10 something. But the date is wrong. And I'm going to go through these pictures. And granted, I was changing the settings. And you'll notice that because the time lapse. But then I didn't on some. And I just kept taking pictures. And you tell me what the fuck you think this thing is. And my dog was barking before this photo was taken, and I smarted off to my dog. I said, shut up, there's no sense in barking. It's not like there's anything behind me. And then this happened. But it's a series of photos. I was taking, like, pictures of the moon. So you tell me what the fuck it is. Because I told my friend, and she's like, oh, it might just be breath. And like I said, the date's not right on the camera. But this was just a few nights ago. Because I spoke, oh sorry, that's my dogs, I'm going the wrong way. But I spoke to, on another video a few nights ago, and I was like, something another, and I labeled it, and at the end I put ghost. And I was like, you know. So, this same setting, oh shit, this is hard to do, cancel. Same setting, on camera. Now there's that, which that typically sometimes happens. This is a different setting, obviously. Okay, here we go. Did you see that? Pretty sure you did. Sorry I can't hold the fucking thing any more steady, but I'm trying. And you can see I kept taking pictures. And there I am back at my dogs again. But, so. Oh my god, my nose is itching so bad right now. And I don't have a laptop to put this on or whatever, so it's just on my camera. Like I said, the date is set wrong because I didn't go in. I haven't used my camera in a minute. But my friend was like, yeah, maybe it's just your breath. And I was like, I don't. And if you look, it's all within a minute. All these darker photos where the moon's small and the setting. It's 10:49. 10:49. 10:49. 10:49. And then that one's still at 10:49, where I changed the setting really quick. And then that one is at 10:48. Okay. So it actually started 10:49, 10:49, 10:49, 10:49, 10:49, and then 10:50. And like I said, my dog was barking at something across the way, and I was just like, you know, shut up. I was like, you know, there's nothing, you know, to be barking at or whatever. And I remember when I took that, like, I was like, shut up. I was like, there's nothing behind me unless that's what I said to her. I said, because I had her chained up, I was like, unless something's behind me, I was like, you shouldn't be barking unless it's right behind me. And I was like, Ch-. And then I seen it because it captured it, you know, and I was just like, and so I just hurried and took another picture, and I was like, don't pay any attention, any mind, because we don't want to bring in that type of shit, if that is what that was. And then my friend just being like, oh, I think it's your breath. But it wasn't that cold out that night. Like, I know when you can see your breath when it's cold. And so I was just like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I mean, maybe it was, but if you look at it, like, I don't know if you'll be able to see it in the video in the playback, but it don't look like, it looks like something to me. That's all I'm going to say. It just looks like something to me. And I was like, holy shit. But I'm going to end this video because it's at 50 minutes. And I'm glad that I was able to kind of get out everything that I wanted to talk about. But it's like I have to learn to not be as antisocial as, but at the same time, I'm an INFP. And so, like, I think they're kind of withdrawn and stuff anyway. So, I mean, I'm like that to a degree, but I'm not as much as society in my life has made me to be. And I'm just like, just take me to a different town. And that's another thing, too, that about my husband being a truck driver and going out of state with him. Like, I felt so much better just getting out of state. Like, I was like, hell yes, get me the fuck out of here. And I was like, I feel like I can be me. And, like, I don't have to worry about if it's going to get back to my dad or if it's going to get back, my kid's dad or whatever. And that's insane to feel that way. But I have, because the way that they've kind of kept me in a little box or whatever. And I'm just like, leave me the fuck alone. And then all these morons that kind of follow along and help them, and they're like, hey, I seen her. I'm like, do you realize that you're helping to make me feel this way? And I'm like, you're sick and demented and a piece of shit for that. Like, I don't know how else to put it. Like, it pisses me off. I would never in a million years be like, oh, I saw somebody. Every time, somebody, like, was wondering where so-and-so was at. Like, I just wouldn't. But, yeah, I'm going to end this video here, and, there was other things that I talked about, too, like, in some of the videos that I lost, but, because I was kind of talking a little bit about my kid's dad, like, and some stuff, but it's nothing trivial or whatever, and it's nothing really that important. It was just ranting about it, I guess, but I'm going to end it here, and if you like my videos, you can comment, share, like, or subscribe. If you think that those pictures are anything, or if you see anything in it, give me a heads up or whatever, like, because I have no idea what to think of it. And I'll catch you later. And hopefully this will load. We'll see if it will. Fingers crossed.